I don't think Astro fans like me need to really fear about this team and where they're going to end up at the end of the year. But the Astros just lost the most heartbreaking game of the season so far this season versus the Dodgers tonight. Being up by 4 in the bottom of the 7th, you're going to have Phil Maton, Brian Abreu, Ryan Stanek, Hector Neris to go ahead and close that game out for you. And if this was 2022, I'd feel really confident. But here in 2023, I don't feel nearly as confident as I was last year. And I think I've seen enough this year so far through about 47% of the season to go ahead and say this. And don't get me wrong, I've been watching this team since 2000. I've been watching them since I was 3 years old. I love this team. I've been through every single kind of up and down with this team. I've seen this team when they went to a World Series and got smoked by the White Sox. I saw them when Albert Pujols broke Brad Lidge. I saw Craig Biggio's last hit in his last career game. I saw them trade away Hunter Pence for basically nothing. I remember when this team was losing 100 games every season and the best player on the team was Chris Carter, a guy that most of you probably don't even remember. I can remember the days of Carlos Lee, El Caballo, and Miguel Tejada, Roy Oswalt, Wandy Rodriguez. I've been around the block a few times with this team. And so it breaks my heart when I go ahead and say what I'm about to say about this year's 2023 Astros. But I went ahead and looked at the numbers at Fangraphs. I went ahead and went back and watched every single error that this team's made so far this season fielding. And it's led me to this one conclusion. I always come right back around to it any way that I try to go towards. This year's team just has no urgency to them at all. This team is so stagnant and there's no intensity or rush within them. I said it before in my last video. I'm going to say it again. It's not a skill thing with this team. It's a will thing. This team has more than enough skill right now to be at a 95 to 100 win prediction instead of the 88 to 90 win prediction that they're right now projected to be at by the end of the season. It's a will thing through and through. And you may be asking me, what evidence do I have to back up what I'm claiming? Well, let me go ahead and lay it out for you. In 2022, the Astros were the second best ranked team when it comes to plate discipline. And when we talk about plate discipline, we're talking about things like strikeout rate, chase rate outside the zone, chase rate within the zone, pitches per at bat, your chase rate, your swing rate to chase rate, your strikeout rate to contact rate, your walk rate to strikeout rate. These are the things that are brought up in conversation when we're talking about plate discipline. Last year's championship winning team in 2022 was ranked second in the league behind the Cleveland Guardians. This year, the Astros are all the way down to 22nd. And this is according to Fangraphs, by the way. And yes, I understand. There are a lot of young players on this team right now that have really not a lot of major league experience in everyday lineups. Guys like Mauricio Dubon and Yainer Diaz. The revolving door of rookies that we've called up and brought back down from AAA and AA coming into the lineup. Hell, even Jake Myers is still relatively new in the league. But that still does not excuse the fact that you went from second ranked to 22nd ranked when it comes to plate discipline in the matter of just 9 months. Yes, baseball is the ultimate game of skill and it's also the ultimate game of luck. I understand that. Now, secondly, let's talk about the boneheaded errors that some of these players are just making seamlessly every week. Now, in basketball, they have something called hustle stats. Now, in baseball, we don't have that. If you could create hustle stats, they would revolve around defense and base running. And I promise you, if you go back and watch some of the errors that some of these players are making throughout the field, you sit there and you scratch your head and you say, hey, man, are you here with us today? Are you thinking about something? Is there a reason you threw that ball over the first baseman's head? Is there a reason that you didn't track that ball down out in left field? Is there a reason you took a really bad track towards that ball in the outfield? Stuff like this in years past doesn't happen at the frequency that it is happening this year so far. And anytime I try to get away from it's not a skill thing, it's a will thing, and I try to come up with other reasons why all this is happening, it always brings me back to this one thing. And that's why I keep saying it's a will thing, not a skill thing. And the crazy part is it's not even a lazy thing because these players aren't lazy. None of these guys are lazy. It just seems like a lot of these guys, when their numbers called upon to deliver in the moment, they're not all the way there. Like they're somewhere else thinking about something else. The lack of intensity and urgency within the clubhouse just seems to be off right now. And that's really the only reason that the Astros keep blowing all these games the way that they are. They've blown 12 to 15 games this year from the bullpen. Games in which they had in the bag. They only needed 3 to 6 outs and they blow them. If I remember this correctly last year, and the numbers are correct on Google, last year the Rays were 34-36 through the month of June. They were the reigning defending world champions. And the only reason that their season turned around, and this is from them, the team, and I quote, Brian Snicker pulled us into the locker room and lit a fire under our asses. And from that point on, they go on to win 101 games and take the division from the Mets. Now, the bad news for the Astros is they're still 5.5 back from the Rangers in the division, and they're a half game out from the wild card spot. The good news news for the Astros is all the games that they're losing, all the mistakes they're making are all self-inflicted, and they are really correctable. It is really easy to fix these mistakes that is happening to them. The only question is, are and when are they going to turn up the intensity and start correcting some of the issues that they're having within themselves? That is the only question I have about this team, because they have the skill there to go out and win another World Series. It's just, are they going to stop shooting themselves in the foot and turn up the intensity and start focusing in these big moments that they need to, and that they've been so good in the past of doing? But we'd love to know what you think in the comment section down below. What is wrong with the Astros in your opinion? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new, because I have plenty more basic content like this, and I'll see you all in the next one. Adios, mis amigos!